offering them mercy, offering them all these things. Still today we have 250-some million Muslims in India. But you see that what that will do will lead us to the next problem, and he let me finish also, so I don't also stay here talking to you for a long time. You probably already tired of me doing that. Let me say the second challenge will be atheism. I know we don't like to think of it. I come from the West, so I've been living there for almost 30 years. There will be rising numbers of Muslims turning into atheists, in my view. Again, just like for the first one, violence that's increasing, and I hope Allah makes me wrong in this. I ask Allah to make me wrong in this prediction as well. But I see it, and I can't help not call it. Rising number of atheists, those who would reject the whole faith altogether. I tell you, I have actually personally met people. Last year, someone came to me in New Jersey, in the United States, while I was at a conference, a youth conference, and told me that this young man memorized the Quran, hafiz of the Book of Allah. Yes. He says, I don't believe in Allah or His Rasul or anything. Now you might say, you know what? The West is too materialistic, and you know, there's no spirituality, there is no culture, there is no whatever. There's all these things there as well. And that's what's happening there. It's not going to happen here. Think again. Remember at the beginning I mentioned about the acceleration of time? Today the whole world is a global village. Literally is a village. What happens in the US affects you right here in Bangalore. The kids that grow up here in India, guess where they're learning from? All the social media that they're in touch with, all these TVs that are bombarding you, all these TV channels, all this information. If not, when you go to universities, when you go to colleges, you are exposed to vast amount of information. Everyone is modeling the same thing. Today, people eat the same, dress the same. I don't care if they're Indians or Chinese or Europeans. Everyone is acting the same, drinking the same, eating the same, more or less. Using the same words, the same logic. The whole world is being dominated by one culture, more or less. Pretty soon, all these little cultural differences that we had as Arabs, for example, I come from the Arab world initially, and you as Indians and others, there's no more difference. You can see it. Imagine just 20 years, 30 years down the line. All the cultural barriers are gone. And they're going to go, and they're going to melt more. Now, when people see these things, obviously, you know what happened to Christianity in the West. Christianity was revered in the West. I mean, the church ruled Europe, as you all know. I mean, the Pope was the big man ruling the whole thing in Europe. Countries were under his wing. But eventually, because the church refused to succumb to reform, it became too big of an establishment and too arrogant because it was too powerful. When you're powerful, you become arrogant. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى أَنْ رَآهُ اسْتَغْنَى, Allah says. Which means once you feel you are wealthy, you become a tyrant. Sabna, you don't need anyone. Yatala, Allah says, which means you become a tyrant. Pharaoh, you act like Pharaoh. Just because you think now you have power and money. Insan, all the insan. Unless, except those whom Allah gives them Rahmah, saves them from this. Anyway, so you all know what happened to the church, to Christianity, right? I mean, you have you know, Martin Luther, who came and tried to do the Lutheran movement and put these 99 things on the door of the church. You need to reform to the Catholic Church. If you don't reform, you know, we're going to split and things are going to go bad. They wanted to kill the man because he's trying to reform them. To them it means I have to lose my job. You know, to the mullah mafia of the Christianity at that time. Right? Also they have a mafia. It's a mafia. So they refused to reform. The Lutherans split in the John Calvin movement. The Calvinists split and came the Church of England, split from the Catholic Church, etc. And you know, all these splitting, now we have many firqa within Christianity. And guess then what happened to Christianity in Europe? People are either, in a sense, many of them, either atheists per se or practically non-religious at all. When you go to churches in Europe today, you don't see people there. Churches are empty. I was told in England, churches are closed down, but they're held as national monuments. But